Agada.
Mbijan aganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. Korsa. Nsila ID soto.
Ah, sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara Allah service o tariya. Mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi manin domorol ni fana be teat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moy o diat ha.
Apelenta
ni mo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel ciosano lo.
Abaraka.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302 data amount hash or go to your Yaiborom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data, it's fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Yaiborom.
Alright.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But
Don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia, Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.
And welcome to the Brunch, live on Kerr, Fatou. I'm Lamin Cham. This is our current affairs program that comes your way every week. This week, we tackle the issues headlong. The matter of the suspension of paracetamol syrup that
syrup is suspected to be among factors that led last month to an acute kidney injury to a lot of children, the majority of whom died of the ailment. Now, over the last weeks or so, the authorities, that is the Ministry of Health, have been investigating the causes of this acute kidney injury among children. Last week, they came with suggestions that one of the particles they found in the dead children that might have led to the crisis could be paracetamol syrup. And accordingly, of course, the authorities announced that they have considered suspending the syrup now as more investigations goes on. But with 20 or 87% of the cases resulting into fatalities, how serious is this matter? Well, I have with me in the studio the Director of Medical Services, and he is Dr. Mustapha Bittaye. Mr. Bittaye, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, let's go back to the very beginning of this crisis. I remember in our media we reported that there are some mysterious illness affecting children. At the time, of course, the gravity of the situation was not known, and soon after the authorities came to say that, well, yes, they are investigating this high mortality amongst children who normally reported to the clinic with symptoms of vomiting, diarrhea, and then you came out with a warning, rather an advice for how people must stick to hygienic ways of handling food, as well as when they washed their children, they should have themselves washed thoroughly. Now, since when was this detected and how? Take us back a little.
Well, thank you very much for having us here. And it's very important that we keep engaging the community and the country. So this was around, if you look at the situation report that has been coming out to update the public, and we have more frequent ones for our staff. It started on the 18th of July, I think.
18th July.
Yeah. So I was, as a director, I was notified by the hospital that they had either 3 cases, and they are very unusual.
Okay.
And you know, the way they are presenting doesn't fit most of this, and the mortality, they were not improving, and later 2 died, 3.
Okay.
So at that time, we came out, you know, because we have provisional things we were thinking.
Okay.
And then we started the investigation. And that time we were thinking more towards waterborne disease because of the floods and all this. Okay. And we came out to say these are likely the reason, but this is our suspicion. But meanwhile, let's give the public to take precaution. So that's why we came out and treated it like that was the condition, and asked the public to take these precautions and started working on it.
So when did you become to realize that this is a serious matter?
So we continued the investigation. Unfortunately, also, when we continued the results that we got preliminarily point towards E. coli at that time, but we needed to do the typing to also know whether what type of, because E. coli, you can have harmless ones in the guts and all that. You can have non-pathogenic ones there, and they are very common. Okay. So we wanted to know whether you have the dangerous ones, and the dangerous ones are divided into different types. And amongst the dangerous ones, there is the enterohemorrhagic E. coli, which can cause hemolytic uremic syndrome, which can cause AKI.
Oh, okay.
So, but when we did the investigation, we detected about 5 types of pathogenic E. coli from the results that we had. Okay. And then we said, but all this is not the way they present. So when we look at the patients, they are supposed to have, to have AKI, they are supposed to have hemolytic uremic syndrome. And in hemolytic uremic syndrome, it's only 10% of patients with that will have it. Okay. And only 3% of the 10% that had it usually die. Not that big number. Okay. And when we look at also the different parameters in their laboratory, because we have a huge line list, looked at all of them, took good history, associations and all. So what we did is that we realized that, for example, if you have E. coli that is causing this AKI, normally it's associated sometimes with bloody diarrhea, but this case none of them had bloody diarrhea. Okay. And then it's usually also associated with thrombocytopenia, like your platelets levels are low, but in this case they instead have the opposite. They have thrombocytosis. So because of that, it did not fit very well. We said, let's continue the investigation. And then we did more analysis on the types of drugs they were taking and others. And we saw a very good correlation between paracetamol more with this thing happening. Not only because it was presence, that's why we said no. It's because the predictive nature of it. Like if we did the analysis, modal, average and everything, and look at the survival, and see that it was almost predictive that this paracetamol, if they take it this time, 3 days after, 1 to 5 range, they will have this. To give you one example, for example, 2 cases where like the patients might have been taking the paracetamol for 3 weeks. That is not normal if it was being considered for paracetamol.
I see.
So then the professors will say, the resident, this doesn't look like the typical. Go back and ask this woman 4 days ago whether she changed her paracetamol. And when they went, that was the case. They've changed the paracetamol they brought with from Canada or somewhere else they were using, and they've changed recently to one which fits typically. So it was almost predictive in the nature that. But that doesn't mean that's the problem. Like for example, in UK, Europe, when the AstraZeneca came, some people started to have heart attacks.
Yes, that's right.
So you don't have to wait for causality. As a government, you have to do no regret approach. You don't wait until people die, you are trying to look for the cause. Once you have suspicions and you've narrowed it down to 2 or 3, you take actions and continue the intervention.
I see.
So that's what the government is doing. That's what Minister of Health is doing. We don't want to say regret later that, if we knew we would have done something and all. So that's why we communicate.
So even though there is no compelling, total, conclusive evidence that definitely paracetamol is to blame, but you feel that since there's a little bit of its presence.
No, it's not the presence. I'm talking about correlations.
The correlations between.
Like for example, when you look at the autopsy result, it's not the presence. Most of these people take the drugs. It's not just the presence. That's not very important because they've already taken the drug and we know that it will be present.
It will be present.
Yeah, so that's not the issue. The issue is the correlation. We have clinical correlations with the mortality.
Exactly. Yes.
We have pathologic autopsy results that could go towards that.
I see.
And we have E. coli too that was identified, but the picture did not typically fit also exactly as how we expect.
I see.
So now, even E. coli, the evidence we have is there. It's like you say you have 60% of the evidence. This one too, you have a lot of correlations, but it's not the presence at all.
I see.
Because the presence we already know. We can tell you that how many % of them take paracetamol and when did they take it, when was the last time. And that is important for the interpretation of the result.
I see.
But a pathology was done, autopsy results, and it was showing also signs that look like it could be it could be that type of thing, and plus the clinical. So you look at all this evidence together and then make a good decision because of the correlation. For example, the first public health, father of public health, John Snow, when he was doing the experiment on cholera, he did not just say, I have to wait until I find that cholera is the one causing this, that. No, he identified that there was a correlation to one tap. Most of the people who had it were drawing their water from one tap. So he did not say, let me go take that water, check it, and make sure it's the before. No,
he just closed
the tap. And then people get better. Then now you can go further to do what type of bacteria. But if you want to wait until all that, many people would have still died.
Understand.
So that's what we are saying. Just like what happened in Europe. AstraZeneca with a lot of noise, they hold on. Check on it, make sure it was fine. If it's not that, then they continue. So if you love your people, you have to have that approach. But you can see a lot of people, maybe the communication is like, but what was being sent out was for the staff because of the lack of this conclusive results. And the staff are highly updated. They are regularly updated on this condition, and they are getting the updates from the state rep that is within us. And so it was just an update on to say that, because we have a big committee where you have a professor of nephrology in the Gambia for children, pediatric nephrology. You have a professor of pediatrics. You have medicine control agency, pharmacists. You have doctors. You know, you have all of them are there, and we sit and discuss.
Absolutely.
And then come out with these measures and say that this is what we are going to take for the time being until we conclude the investigation. So while some tests are going. So for paracetamol, for example, there are 2 ways. One could be toxicity. And the autopsy look at more towards toxicity, because both the liver and the kidneys were necrotic in those ones. So you can think of toxicity in that case. But one of the other things is the preservatives, other things used in it. And that one can cause straight away renal problems, like what has happened in Nigeria in the past on many occasions. And one of these professors was in that center where this happened, and you know, he has seen that, and he has seen what has happened, and he's one of the people taking care of this. We are doing peritoneal dialysis for these people. That has not happened in Gambia. But still, most of them succumb. You know, and if it was just hemolytic uremic syndrome, which can be from E. coli, the death rate is not as high.
It's not as high. So now, when this matter about paracetamol came out, I mean, you people were struggling to clarify that it's the syrup you're talking about. But most people said the paracetamol in general now has got a bad reputation, and therefore it must be avoided. How can you do that?
Yeah, we are coming out to say that this is not even like 100% conclusive until we get the results. It is a suspicion with strong correlations. That's why we think that people should stop. We know that it will have some bad effect. But if you do the cost-benefit analysis, I prefer my people to survive than the small economy I get. Yeah. So, and you know, if a child dies, a child who should have lived for 70 years, that's a number. If you calculate the DALYs for that, it's too high.
It's too high.
If I die, it's better than a child dying. Looking at the DALYs, because I'm supposed to live maybe another 30 years, and a child is supposed to live another 70 years. So it's very important, if you look at this on return in life, return economics, it's better for these children to survive than all this we are talking about.
So, but if I get sick today, I get a symptom of fever and headache, can I just go to the clinic and ask for paracetamol tablets?
What we are saying is not the tablets. From what we are seeing, it's mainly the syrup.
So,
and we've done some form of like retrospective case studies where you take those who had the case and those who did not have the case and compare their level of paracetamol, what happened, the type of paracetamol they took, and others. And so we come out with this. So it's not like everybody who took the paracetamol had the problem, and it's not everybody who had the E. coli died or had AKI. But you know, when we look at the correlation, so we are saying that it's better with.
Let's listen to this. This person raised this concern. He says, he said. Paracetamol comes in two types. One is PCM tabs and paracetamol suspension for pediatric mostly. That's what we're talking about. Now, he said in the Gambia there are almost 16 pharmaceutical distributors, and most of which is generic medicines from India. It says for a pharmaceutical distributor to have marketing authorization to sell that medicine, they have to pass through Medicine Control Agency and the MCA, because they are the regulatory agency under the Ministry of Health. For them to approve any product for marketing authorization, that medicine has to be registered, and in the registration process, they ask for all necessary dossier for that product. Example, COPP is a certified document that WHO recommends. If the distributor is not able to provide this document, that medicine is put on quarantine, not allowed to be used to the public. So there is a system in place. So now, if there is a presence of E. coli in paracetamol investigation, then there is possibilities that the water that is used to dissolve the PCM suspension might be contaminated, because E. coli is a very strong bacteria that can be found in sewage, human waste, and animal waste. When consumed, it can lead to severe illness, and the most affected are children under 5 years. Now, the writer is saying, I'm not saying this might be the causes, but it could be because paracetamol comes in suspension and are dispensed to parents for use. So during the process of diluting the suspension, most parents are very careless. Mostly they don't use purified water or boiled water, or a mother might not wash hands properly after washing the child's waste. And with those contaminated hands or water, this can lead to E. coli contaminations. So parents' child care health is very vital. Maybe the paracetamol is not a problem, but how to use it might be an issue. Public health campaign can help to sensitize parents. I think also it's high time the Ministry of Health to help regulatory authorities like Medicine Control Agency to have established laboratory rather than depending on Senegal all the time for quality control. Now, I'm a layman in this business, but this man the writer here seems to raise pertinent issues.
I mean, he's He's very smart and it's genuine what he's saying.
Yeah.
For the last point is very important. We are already working on that. About the minister is very passionate about trying to get that lab, and it's not now. We've started thinking of it, so we are in that process. The other thing he raised very important and pertinent points. But this message we were sending was to health workers.
Okay.
And they are trained, they understand all this very well. And you remember the message that we sent earlier to parents, similar to what he's saying, is that E. coli can be handled this way. Exactly. Wash your hands, boil your water, and all that. And not only that the ministry is doing, because of the contamination at the water points. Yes. Now, Gambia, many people are using boreholes now. Yes. So all those things have been checked, and they are going to many water points to treat them. So it's not, what he's saying is true, but the Minister of Health is doing that, investigating. But this condition is very unusual, the way it is. But the truth is it because we have now a pediatric nephrologist? That's why. Because if you look at the number of deaths that happened last year among children with diarrhea, and the number of cases we had in diarrhea, if you look at the trend analysis, there's no increase. Actually, there's a decrease.
So it could be that there wasn't this
professional eye
at the
and
time,
all that to look at
the
this
focus
and
was
yes. Because now we start the postgraduate training. We brought big professors who are in country who are helping us to train the doctors to specialist level, and they are also helping in the care. And it was that professor who actually called me about this pattern he's seeing, and then the investigation kicks in.
So it
could be that. But whatever it is, if we handle it, then inshallah this year and next year our mortality rate among children will go down, because it will not happen again like it has happened in the past.
Now, he raised the issue of the Medicine Control Agency. I mean, he said that for example, he raised an issue that there are certain paracetamol which 5 millimeters contain 160 milligrams of paracetamol. He said this can lead to overdose so easily without people recognizing. But it boils down to whose job is it to make sure that medicines that are into this country are registered, and by registering them, they must have some certain criteria they must met.
No,
how can the Medicine Control Agency fail to detect these things?
No, I think they are doing a good job. They try to make sure that all these people are registered. We've done history taking on all these cases. Not all the paracetamol, for example, may come from Gambia.
Yes.
I'm just saying. But when we look at the registered one, we have all that data, which ones are registered, which ones, and a lot of more data to help with the analysis. But I can tell you that for you to be allowed legally to sell any drug here, it has to be registered.
It has to be.
Yes, and then they do surveillance, and they go up country, spot checks and all that.
You mean the medicals?
Yes, they do a lot. Like I've worked with them closely as the director, and we've gone to places up country even.
And these people are
subjects
under you, isn't it?
No,
because I want to bring up something.
This is a very
but I think they are under your purview. They might be independent.
No, they are independent.
They are independent.
Their role is to protect the public.
But
so they don't look at me. That's why what we were writing was to our staff. Until we got enough evidence for them to come out with this. Because we were telling our staff that hold on, because they are regularly updated and all, and they have. So we were just telling them, give them an update about the management, that for the time being, because of this, let's hold on and then allow the investigation to go on and use another alternative.
See, most people think, no matter how effective you and your guys are doing at the ministry and other people, if the Medicine Control Agency, who are responsible to ensure that the medicines that come into this country are safe, all your purposes and efforts will be defeated. Now, whose job is to check this MCA? Because I'm going to tell you, most people's concern is there's a lot of conflict of interest in this MCA. Like one, there are very few pharmacists in this country, and these same pharmacists are the people serving in the MCA and the pharmacy council, whatever they call. These are the people who have licenses. They hire their license to importers who bring in medicine, and they are the ones who are supposed to regulate the industry. How can you regulate Lamin Cham, who is using your license to sell drugs? So how, as an authority, don't you people feel that you should come with a policy where this conflict of interest can be eradicated? Because basically you cannot have somebody regulating somebody who's using his license. So these drugs can smuggle into here, no matter God knows what sort of drugs, to come and kill people, because the people who are supposed to make sure that they don't get us are the same people whose license have been used to bring them. So where do we go?
No, I can tell you for sure that if they are not they are not those type of people. These are professional. Let me
how many pharmacists do we have?
They are really professional because I almost know all these pharmacies.
Okay,
and two is that we also have a pharmacy council.
Yes.
It's different from MCA.
But there are cases where somebody is serving in both.
So the pharmacy council,
right?
We need to look at, because you see the MCA has a board.
Yes.
A very independent board that look at what they are doing, that checks them and all that, and report. So it's not like they are their own free will doing whatever they want. And so they are really being monitored closely, and they are ensuring, and like we said, as a ministry, we are supporting so that very soon we will have our own labs, we will do all this. The difficulty is, but they are putting a lot of measures. Because, for example, the vaccines, I wanted the vaccines quickly to come in Gambia. As the Director of Health Services, I wanted this vaccine to protect the people quickly for the COVID so that people are safe. Yeah. But I can tell you, I went through a lot. Even a diagnostic, if I have to bring it to Gambia to give to people, they show me so many steps I have to take, regulatory steps. The
MCA?
The MCA. I have to follow their rules. And we are bringing this for the public, we are bringing this for public consumption. So we have to prove to them WHO registration, you have to prove to them other countries. So you have to go through a lot, even elaborated tests. Some people donated us test kits, which we have been used in other countries. But for them to allow it, you have to prove a lot of reasons why you must use it. So I have the experience with them, and I can tell you their system is rigorous. And if you ask me, I can tell you that these are very professional people, and they will ensure that they are very passionate about protecting the public.
Now the thing is, there are very few, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the problem. This is not like you are in a country where medical training is just starting. We don't even have a pharmacy school, I'm not sure. You know, because in the University of the Gambia, we are just starting that now.
But they're saying that people, graduates who want to become pharmacists must serve for 5 years or so.
No, they are just protection. Like we are part of the doctors,
Before you get
regulating the doctor. Before we allow a doctor to start operating his own pharmacy or his own clinic, you have to have some number of years, 5, 10 years. That's what they are saying. Like you have to work on that, because you have the theoretical knowledge, have the practice, but practice safely. Because in medicine, if you practice safely for a period, it also counts. It shows that you are doing it well and there is no problem, and that alone can mean something. So you have to practice in that region, do very well, and then these are regulations.
How do you remove these rigmaroles of a pharmacist issuing or issuing his license for hire by people who have no business or no knowledge in that? How is the policy?
They don't do that. So what happens is that if they use somebody's license, you are responsible. And if there is surveillance and spot checks and something is found, you'll be held responsible. Just like if
it is my job now to regulate, to check on, for example, Kairaba Pharmaceutical or Banjul Pharmaceuticals, to check on them to say whether they are really complying with all the standards, the qualities and the standards that are not. But then they happen to be using my license.
It's not only them who do that. Like we also do that. Like you see, if you go to a clinic, you have both a pharmacy and all. So if if our quality control unit is going to a private facility and found something in the pharmacy, they can raise it. And then we've done that before. We work closely. They too, if they go to any facility, they are mainly responsible for the drugs. But if they find something else happening, they let us know, and we deal with that hospital. So we work together. So if, for example, which is not the case, but for example, if there was some form of connivance between anyone and we picked it, then we'll pick it up. So we are working together, and it's designed in such a way that it's not only one soul wholly doing it. They are doing pharmaceutical surveillance. We are looking at the clinics, but the clinics need the drugs, and everything go together. So we are working closely. And I think that, like, really as an institution, they are very rigorous. You know, when they come here, they will tell you all their processes. You will be wowed with what they do.
I try to reach out to all of them. Their numbers are off also. But isn't it also a law that pharmacists should stay, you know, in stores where their license have been used for some time?
So it depends.
But most of these pharmacists have their full-time jobs. They don't go to this. They hardly go to this place.
Like,
is that not a breach of the law?
It depends on what is happening. Like, for example, in Ghana, we went to Ghana. It's not like that in Ghana.
Should be in the store where his license been used.
No, it's not like that in Ghana. It depends on what the regulations are here.
What is our regulation?
So I think you'll invite them. But I can tell you.
But what is our regulation?
I can tell you.
What is our regulation?
I think I have the regulations.
Please,
I have their
what
acts.
did it say?
but I need to refer to it just to be.
Is it that the pharmacists, the license holders themselves should be?
Well, I'm telling you, in Ghana, where they train, we went there for study tours just to improve the system. We've gone there. We are very keen on improving the system, and like even in that place, it's not always like, because if you say only pharmacists, trained pharmacists, you can count them.
Yes.
So if you only say only trained pharmacists are going to issue drugs or this, then most Gambians will go without the products because it's going to be difficult.
So that's why they have to issue their license.
So that's why there are other people allowed, like in tax shifting, to also help in the issuing of the drugs. So, and as they go, just like us, when we started, traditional women could do the deliveries, but they don't know how to manage hemorrhage and all that, which can happen and people can die. Now, as we upgrade, we say now they don't do that because we have now more health facilities, more nurses, more CHN. Now it's at the level of CHN to do it. No. So there will come a time, if we have the manpower, only family doctors or obstetricians will do deliveries, like it happened in other places. But you have to do tax shifting and gradually come off it until you reach that level. But if you sit down now and say only pharmacists handle drug, then suddenly there will be chaos.
There will be drug shortage.
Yes, because you don't have people to issue it.
It's just like when you say it's only farmers who will bring in food.
Or if we just say right now that only specialists in sports journalists are allowed to talk on football.
Talk on the radio.
Yeah, then suddenly many radios will not have anybody to talk. So you have to do some tax shifting, share some knowledge, give them some basic knowledge so that they are safe, allow them to work on certain level with certain drugs.
How can I close a radio which has my license?
Huh?
In that case, how can I close the radio, take punitive action against the radio which is using my license?
No, I don't think that's the case. You can bring them here, but you can check with them.
Okay. Before we leave the subject of Aki, or you call it, injury to kidney that happened in our own children, there's a lot of controversy about a certain letter which you purportedly signed by you. Many people said it's laden with errors, even though I don't care because the message for me is more important than how many mistakes. Of course, some mistakes in medical terms can change the whole meaning. But what do you say about this letter? There's a lot of controversy that the letter, how did this letter come about? The press statement or whatever?
I don't want to go, no, this is just for our staff.
Okay.
And it is people who are already updated regularly and they know what is going. So it was just an update to say that we've now narrowed down to 2, and we are doing interventions for those 2. E. coli and paracetamol. So, but investigation is still ongoing. And
what did the critics say? They said you. What are the points there? They said
so there's like you said, there are a lot of errors which we take ownership for. But how it came about and all, really, we don't want to go into that.
Probably it's not even you who signed it.
Well, we'll take ownership of it,
because you are
from
the
office and also.
What do you learn from that? People watch everything you do.
That's good. And you see, the level of scrutiny and the high standards expected from us is great. So it shows that everybody's watching and they want us to operate at a very high standard, and we will continue to strive for that. And it's
so you admit that there were just errors in in spellings or
yes, we admit.
Okay, now let's talk about general health matters too. How is the COVID situation? And let me begin by this. My office is not far from Demban Clinic. When I used to know Demban, it was just a quiet place. But over the last months, every time an ambulance is coming in and out, every time I see an ambulance, I watch out from my office. Demban is busy. When I jog, every evening I jog to Sting Corner and stuff like that. I pass a lot of people there. Demban now has suddenly been transformed into a major hospital. What's the meaning of that?
Now Demban is very busy, and I think that's one of the foresight of the ministry with partners, TAF, UNDP, World Bank. So this is the use. We were using it for a COVID center, but with the thought that in the future it will going to play a very important role in the whole health sector. So fortunately, when we want to renovate the teaching hospital, now we are using Demban for the time being as an A&E, and we even have further plans once this team go back. So right now it's very busy serving as the A&E. That's where we have 2 oxygen plants.
That's accident and emergency.
Yeah, accident and emergency is now there, and we have few orthopedics and others, neurosurgery there. So they are very busy. They do a lot of surgeries. I can tell you that the minimum of surgeries they do is about more than 1,000 per year. That's huge. And most of those cases, some of them would have been going to Senegal and other places, but now they are all done here. And the good thing is, we even just recently, they have the oxygen plant, one of them working very well, providing oxygen, where the teaching hospital said they were spending about 1 million per month on oxygen. And now with these, they can have enough oxygen and they can even supply other areas. And that's not the only one. They have another 50 cubic meter per hour plant provided by World Bank, UDP, UNDP, and
where is that located?
So 2 of them will be in Namban. Then we have another 2 coming. One is going to be an EFSTH, and the other one at Bansang. Yeah, so then we are also looking for others for Farafenye.
What do you use this place, the sanatorium for? They call it Wenchong.
Yeah.
What do you use it
so
for?
sanatorium previously was used as a isolation area.
Yes, for people with coughing problems,
TB and others. Yeah, but now we are building another one with the help of Global Fund and the government and in Busumbala. So that's the one we're using. So this one, so that's why in the Gambia, you see, in Italy and others, what you've seen during the COVID was people were on the floor. You see what happened in India. But in Gambia, that has never happened because we increased the space, we increased the bed space. Right now, if there is overfill of patients in Nemba, we move them to sanatorium. So you will not have the situation where you have patients on the floor and all that, except they need that maybe critical care. But that should be a thing of the past, because we have enough space now in Nemba to handle the overfill that happens in Nemba.
But would demand then be would continue to be like this, or when the RVH renovation? Talking about RVH, I live in the past. When the Edward Francis Mall is renovated, the operations will go back there.
Yes. So the idea, we already have plans for Nemba. So like the minister is very passionate, because right now we send many patients. Like just this year, we've sent about 11 or 13 patients abroad for cardiac surgery. We've sent a few for also transplant. So these two take a lot of money from the government. So to save cost, we want to start 2 types of surgeries. We call them open heart surgery and renal transplant surgery.
Or kidney problem.
Or renal transplant, kidney. Those who have kidney, they are doing dialysis, but it's for temporal reason. So later, we need to help them for somebody to donate them a kidney.
Like they do in India.
Then they can live normal lives. And we have surgeons ready to come. The minister's colleague, one of them is an open heart surgeon. He's also ready to come. We have others. So we want to put in that measure so that we can save costs. Because right now, what we are spending to take these people away to outside and come back, if we do it here, we will save costs and we will do it for more people. And the systems are almost ready. It's just the theaters are there. It's just to bring some few equipment, bring the expertise. They do it with our people, train them in service, and then we are ready to go. So in the near future, we can do that type of system where they can be coming doing the surgeries until we have the manpower. Then we can take it over from them 100%.
Okay. Now about the COVID, I mean, you are struggling to get the vaccines all over again. How many percentage is the government now vaccinated? How many percent?
This is bad, you know. So
really?
Yeah, I mean, like for us, the way amount of resources, amount of work we are doing to get it, you know, we are hoping by this time we should be 60-70%.
60-70%.
But we are still less than 30%.
That is people not wanting to be vaccinated.
Yes, and I think it's always, you never blame the public. You always say that there's something I'm not doing right, or there's something I've
and there is no law that it should be mandated.
You know, with the democracy and others, you can do it, but you know, making things mandatory can be difficult for the government. You have to look at all the options that are available before you. So we prefer to educate people until they understand and then take it. But when you make it mandatory, there could be a lot of resistance, a lot of counter effects and other things. So, but it's an option that you can do. So one of the things we are looking at is to make it mandatory to do certain services, you must have it. Otherwise, you know, you have to do a test or something, like they did in other countries. Other countries have done other strategies where, like they're saying, even to travel within the country, you need to have a visa, like sort of within the, like if I want to go to my village now, if I want to go to my village, I cannot go because I have to cross the ferry, and the ferry they will require me to have a. So those are measures you can do to help. Or we say in our health facilities, before you are able to get services, non-emergency services, you must have the vaccines or you are exempted, something like that. But those are measures we can do. But sometimes when people, you want the good for them, but it's better to get them to understand to do, because sometimes when you force it, they just revolt, and it can be counterproductive.
But is there a general resistance? You professionals call it resistance to vaccine, but I call it what is the common fear or misgivings that the people have about the vaccine? I mean, you know, we live in a deeply traditional and, I don't mind saying, primitive society where people's acceptance of modern medicine is even sometimes up to this century a problem. What are the common fear or things that you say people are not wanting to?
Yeah, so the people are hesitant. They don't want to do it because they are not so sure yet. Because there are a lot of counter information coming in that it could do this. It is a microchip. I can tell you when it started newly, some people came to very big media houses and said that COVID doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know, because of the information they're getting. I remember when we got the AstraZeneca or the Pfizer, people will call from other countries and say, no, America is not giving this. Why are you taking your country? You know, they give the people here a lot of information and they have a lot of fears about the effectiveness of it or how beneficial it is going to be. I don't want to name the things they are saying, but you know, it's some of the things they are saying.
I'll tell you one example close to me. We have this colleague, you know, and when we ask everybody to be vaccinated, he said, no. I mean, in my family, vaccination does not go well with us, so we don't vaccinate. And management said, okay, you either vaccinate or you stay at home. And eventually he got vaccinated and he's fine. And nothing happened to him.
You know, the people were saying that in few months, if you take the vaccines, in few months or few years, you are going to die. So there's going to be a mass death, maximum of 2 years. And I think...
And in Britain now, it's only 2 years now, plus. And they are 70 or 80%
vaccinated. So
nobody died.
So there was a lot of myths and all this around the vaccine, which we need to dispel. Okay. So that's why we always assess ourselves that we've not penetrated much, we've not reached them to where they are. Like if somebody doesn't understand, it's your job to understand why he's not understanding and then try to make them understand. So we believe that once they understand and you engage them better, then they will start taking. So that's why we are in the process of engagement all the time with the community.
You see, finally, we are surrounded by sports people here because our next topic is sports. Because Dr. Bittaye is always busy. He has another engagement at exactly 2 o'clock or 2:30. He will be going. But what would be your message for sports people to get them to promote the vaccine among them? What would be your plan for them? I mean, engaged every football team mandatory before they play football.
Well, what we were thinking initially was to have the stadium before you are allowed to enter. There was a plan like that we wanted to issue. So that before you hold any big gathering, anybody who comes will have to show
like the African Nations Cup in Cameroon, they wanted to apply such things there.
Yes. Before you come in, you show vaccines and all. And footballers, before they are allowed in the pitch, they have to show that they are vaccinated. So if we do that, it can help. But I'm sure if people understand very well and we have these big people understand and send it to the people, then the resistance will be lower.
He wants to crash into the program.
Good afternoon, viewers out there. I think it's right. That's something that was part of the curriculum. That just remind me of late Omar Sy, the former Minister of Health. He was the COVID officer, medical officer for the GFF. You remember we played 1 or 2 qualifier games during the COVID, and people were vaccinated.
The late Minister Omar Sy, you are right.
Was the one
there was an issue like that here.
He was the one responsible for all
the issue with Gabon, I think.
May his soul rest in peace. So against Gabon, exactly. Against
Gabon, yes, he was.
So you know, the few people who were allowed to watch that game, you know, it was on closed door. But still,
even
they
journalists
have to produce that vaccination card to do.
So that can help really.
Well, so I think he has mentioned a good point. Like the late Omar Sy, Honorable, you know, may his soul rest in peace. He really did so well for health, especially Minister of Health, and it's a big loss to the family of health. He's been very active in helping people, charity basis, going to educate, you know, and he was very engaging with us. Even with the football, he's always engaging us, informing us before time. So we pray that his soul rest in peace.
Perfect peace. Dr. Mustapha Bittaye, Director of Health Service, thank you very much for sharing your very limited time with us because you have other things to do. We wish you all the best with the rest of your activities. We will be back with the brunch, this time looking at sports, particularly our football, because the Gambia has just qualified to the next Under-20 African Championship to be held in Cairo. But we have a small matter of a final in Nouakchott in the WAFU Zone A. We will discuss that when we come back after this break.
Agada.
Mbijan aganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato nim fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Golam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi ma nin domorol ni fana beteata. Gambia dawda yalo nga fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
ni mo ka ni na lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302* data amount hash or go to your Yaiborom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data is fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Yaiborom.
Alright.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia, Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high quality and non-size restricted printing.
Welcome back to the brunch. And as promised, we'll take a look at our football because our under-20 national team, otherwise called the Youth Team, will take part now in the African Youth Championship that will take place in Cairo, Egypt later this year. Because they have reached the final of the WAFU Zone A Under-20 Championship that's happening in Mauritania, Nouakchott to be exact. The Gambia was placed in Group B alongside Cape Verde Islands, which the Gambia beat. And Guinea, they drew against Guinea and beat 4-1. Which country was it that again? Remind me. Liberia. Now, this made us to finish second in the group. But after the group's final match between us and the Senegalese Lion Cubs, the young Scorpions were defeated 1-0, but the result was enough for them to secure a place in the semi-final because they had a better goal difference than Guinea, which also won their last match. Now, this pitted us in the semi-final against Mali that was played on Friday. Well, with more on that, of course, I have Coach Jasper Kebature. He is the acting president now of the Gambia Football Coaches Association, and Lamin Sane, coach involved with Falcons FC, is They are all with us in the studio. Just first of all, we went to this place as champions. So if you are going to rate us, our performance, you are first going to check how far have we done in the title defense so far. You will say, of course, we have done very well coming to the final. We have 90% of the job done to defend the title. But looking back from the first match to now, do you think this team really deserved where they are?
Yeah, Mr. Cham, good afternoon, viewers. First of all, I think the football house is mourning. It has been horrible these days. It has been a sad moment these days. We've lost Omar Sy a week ago. Yesterday, our very own Furu, that's the
Furu
president. Gomez.
He used to be president.
URL Federation, Association, Football Association.
Yes.
Who just passed away last evening. As in Basse. As the president said, that it couldn't be a very good message or send for the brief family rather than a win. And the young Scorpions have sent a very big tribute to the family. So first of all, we just, together with the footballing family, we're sending our condolences to the Gomez family.
You knew Fru Gomez a long time now?
Yeah, of course. My first encounter with him was when I was sent by the Coach Association to organize their coaching association down in URR for them to do their first B launching. He was my host, and definitely he's somebody who touched lives of many, who has done a lot for football, who has been there for football at grassroots with all passion, wealth, and everything he has given to football. Definitely, especially the youth of that area. His loss is a big blow to the footballing family.
So his soul rest in peace. Fru Gomez, I knew him fairly when he was for a long time now, actually, involved in football in URR, and like you said, football president for that region. Now let's go back. Yes, I was saying, defending champions. How far have we gone in defending our title?
Perfectly. Have you seen the team as we read it? Defending a title has not been easy. Most of the time, this is a trend we've been continuing, and we've seen in the sub-region, most of the champions don't return back to the finals. But we've done this the last consecutive competitions. Remember, we win it in Liberia with Matar. That was the first time we get the trophy. We came back to Conakry. We were semi-finalists. Then we went back to Dakar. We are Chess. We are the champions. Here we are again in Mauritania. So that shows you how prepared the team is. And going overall, this is what we always say for coaches, local coaches. This is our own, because this is the exact age our league is at par. So these are all our league.
Is this a reflection of the quality of our league?
Definitely, because
one would argue, why didn't we do well in Chan then?
Yeah, the difference in Chan is age, but it still comes to age barriers. In other countries, people play 3, 4, 5 seasons in a row, looking at the age bracket. Looking here, the transition we have from Norwetan to the division is too short. So most of the time, our players at 18, 17, 18, they enter the national league. After 2, 3 seasons, you are almost at 22, under 20, 19. So the best national team we could get would be under 23, under 20. So that's the direct reflection of the game. As we all agree, this is an amateur league we play. So the age barrier that represents the league is the under 20. That's why we will be always dominating that part of the tournament whenever it comes in the sub-region.
So by reaching the final, we reached now one of the most fabulous prizes on stake in Nouakchott was reaching the final, because the first two, the finalists are going to the African Youth Championship. How much of this achievement you think can we carry to the continental stage? Are we, from what you have said, are we really a team that is sturdy and steady enough, technical enough to do well at the African Championship?
Yeah, exactly. We just reflect our memories again when it all started. That's with the late Bono Johnson, may his soul rest in peace, who first took the under-20 to the African Brunch to the African Championship in Congo Brazzaville, then went straight to Canada to finish in the knockout stages. So you can see that trend coming up. This is still what has been maintained. Matar could have been in the World Cup of Nations the last time due to the COVID. It doesn't happen. After from chess we went to Mauritania. We could have gone to the World Cup in fact, because it was in cancelled. So you can see the trend going. Looking at the structure of the team, that shows you how prepared it is. First we start with the technical bench. It is just a change of a head. That's Matar is gone. Lai Bojang came in, but you still have the assistants in. You get Fodeba is still there. Yaya Mane is still there. George Loba is still the goalkeeper trainer. Even the kids manager is still there. So the core of the team is already in place when it comes to technical. You go to the team itself, the players itself, you still get about almost 6 or 7 players from the previous under-20 who are still signing in. And you get Lai was the under-17 coach. He still graduated again with some of his players from the last 17 to that 20. And these were players who were playing, giving everything in the league. You look at our league, that shows the strength of the league. And this way from Banjul, by law, is it? Balamin So, So was a key player in Matar's team. He was a key player in Matar's team. So you see continuity how it pays. This is what we're yearning for. And the team still miss some of his players. Kajali is still eligible for the team. He is not available yet. You count on 3 to 4 players who are still playing professional, who can still join the team when we go to the AFCON. So we've seen the team at a very high position.
Lamin, yes, you watch this team. What has been your impression? Are you so optimistic as he is that this is definitely a team that can take us to another step in the especially not just the AFCON under 20 but the world?
Well, very much optimistic. Looking at when Lai Bojang took the team, he has a series of local test matches played. He was working more with more of a continuity and stability. Looking at as earlier Jasper alluded, the experienced campaigners in the previous tournament from chess to the AFCON in Mauritania. That's where he built his team. That's where he built. Looking at Foster, the goalkeeping department. The goalkeeper who is now the #1 was the 3rd choice goalkeeper at that time. And he has that tournament experience. And now he was playing regularly with Banjul. So for me, sometimes not playing footballers will want to play. But most of the players who did not play in the past editions have that learning curve. And now that they are translating that into actions. So looking at Lai, there was stability and continuity. And looking at also the heart of the defense line, the captain Sen was part of the past AFCON team, but he has limited number of minutes that he played, but he learned a lot. Now looking how he is leading this team as skipper, and also looking at the team we considered fewer goals, that shows you the team is in the defense and the goalkeeping department, we are very stable. So for me, them going to the AFCON, not a surprise. And there are 2 types of things you look at in Lai Bojang. He tweaks his team from a 1-4-2-3-1 system to a 4-4-3-3 conventional system. So that has really helped. In the start of the competition, you will see it in 2 ways. We have small, diminutive players who can hold and play position football. Sometimes they will do the pragmatic approach, that is sit and hit the opposition in counter attack. And you can see against Liberia, a couple of goals were in the pragmatic approach. So I think with some little bit of adjustment and better organization, we will definitely go to the World Cup.
Good. What do you make of our opponents? Senegal. I'm talking about first. Let's talk about the last match. we were beaten on penalties. I had some people querying the judgment on the referee. Did you watch that?
Yes, I watched it.
Now, you know, over the past recent years, like in chess particularly, we won them, we beat them on penalties there. But we've always had this psychology that wherever we play Senegal, well, we play the second fiddle. We're probably just lucky. How much you think, from watching that match, did we deserve, to be beaten in that match?
Well, I think,
or were we just bad luck?
I think that it's a contentious one for me. I would not say controversy. But hey, this group of U20 players, there's a lot of character in them. You can see they control matches and they can sustain pressure. And sustaining pressure comes with team effort. So you can see there's a lot of teamwork in this team. So meeting Senegal again is a huge task, but I think the boys can do it.
Jesper, let's look ahead. The next one, even though we have won what many people would consider as a very big prize, that is qualification to the African under 20. But we have this small matter of the final to play. And there's everything to play for. There's a title with whatever money or prestige it comes with. The country needs it. How are we going to approach this one? What are they telling you, the technicians? Because even the chief technician, Sangdong, is there. What are they telling you?
I think that's the most amazing thing, and this is what we've been crying for, to see our team being built by technicians. And I think it's one of the luckiest teams. Not only Sang being around the team there, but Parfa is there as a team manager. You get Aliou Jan, the former international, the competition department manager, is also around the team there. Mojan, sorry, Mojan is around the team there. So the team has all its qualities or what it needs when it comes to technical to be backed.
We're trying to reach some of them on the telephone, if it's possible. If that is possible, we will look at that. But then, yes, you said the team is endowed and privileged to have all these technical people around
the team. This is something we've been crying for long ago, for teams to be belted well. And we've seen the dividend coming in. Again, going back to the game you talk about, that's the game against Senegal. Yes, it has been, but I think of recent those mentality is been changed. As I said, we get players with very good characters, and I said the team is a continuity. You see the blending of the team from previous to current, and these are almost 90% of the team has these national duties, either at under 17 or at under 20 level. So again, coming to a game against Senegal. Remember the last edition in chess, we were defeated by Senegal in their home by 5-1 in the first game, which was intimidated, or the same scenario. It was a controversial game that lead us to that 5-1 defeat. But again, we were able to put ourselves together and come down
and punish them
in the final. So I'm seeing the same trend coming in. Even after losing against Senegal the last game, we still won the man of the match. So that shows the character in the team. That shows how we are ready to fight, to push them to the pit.
How clinical or effective is our goal scoring abilities? Because that's where the problem is. Like for example, one would have argued that we only scraped through thanks to the goals we had against Liberia. 4-1, was it 4-0? 4-1. If that was not the case, I mean, we would have a lot of trouble passing through Guinea. Given that Guinea.
Yeah, but again, that sent a big signal. Hammering Liberia 4-1.
Yes.
Obviously, the next opponent will be very much secured, will be very much ready to avoid that. But again, as I tell you, looking at yesterday, the approach we start with the game and where we end up with the game, that shows that technicality is being played. So technically it's been played. We had a game with them, we know the approach of the team, and we get the history of the team as they get our own. But the most important thing here is he talk about, in a tournament, if you want to win a tournament, most of the time you must get a very good stoppers.
I see.
You must not need to concede, and you have to score.
Yes.
Because a goal can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Looking where we equalize, the time we equalize in the game, and see the technical played there. Kudos to the technical team.
All right, so we are now going to the final. When is the final again? On tomorrow, Sunday. And okay, let's talk about the system. Before we qualify, the qualifiers are played, let's say preliminary rounds between countries. Yes. Now CAF has arranged in such a way that the zones in the west in their blocks. For us, WAFU Zone A, that are used for the qualifiers. Okay. Now, this is that's a four-nation group match, isn't it? It's a 9 of total, nine. Now, what I mean, but they divided into groups.
Yeah, four, five.
Four, five. Meaning, the qualifiers of the African comps are contained within the tournament.
Yeah.
Which one do you think put more pressure or put more in terms of efforts and work on the technicians? Which is difficult?
Which is difficult. The premier is the most difficult part.
The preliminaries.
The preliminaries is most difficult.
But one would have argued that. Why do you think that? Okay, let me ask you. Why do you think?
We were just eliminated from the CHAN.
Yes, that's one example.
We won the first game against Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah.
They won us in the second leg.
Yeah.
1-0. We went to penalties and lose a game.
Okay.
And we are out of the tournament.
So would you argue that if this was like the WAFU format, when we have three others in our group, we would have an opportunity to amend?
Of course, yes. Because already we secured a point against Guinea-Bissau, so Guinea-Bissau is no more coming as an opponent.
Yeah.
So that will be another opponent.
Yes.
So we would have more.
So this system is better? This
is better.
Really?
Yeah, and it's more enjoyable because, and again, looking tournament, you bring people of different cultures together. And this is our zone. We need to, and I think it is something that has to come in effect because remember, it's just like the zone 2 it is represented.
But you remember there was a time CAF experimented, even the Cup of Nations qualifiers, like that, link it with the World Cup qualifiers.
Exactly.
Like if you reach a certain stage, you can qualify for the Cup of Nations automatically, but then you still have to play the last round to be able to get to the World Cup. So if you don't get even the stage which can make it to the Cup of Nations, you have lost everything. Exactly. That's what happened to Senegal. You remember we did that to Senegal.
Exactly.
But that system was abandoned. So
yeah, it has to be because it eliminated the big guns. Then it wasn't in the favor of the big guns.
Soon,
exactly.
Yeah.
Overall football, there are targeted opponents. Or there are targeted teams or whatever you might. That's an obvious. Either we accept it or not. These are people these are countries we're looking up to be there. So once those system doesn't favor those people, and these are the people, people sit over the system and decided over it. So once they get that vote in, it doesn't go their way. This is human. But I think that was the best opportunity for smaller countries to get through to that World Cup.
Okay.
Definitely.
Now, what does this tell Sane of the future of our football, especially when it comes to youth categories?
Well, for me, I think
the under 17 have not, since that Peru 2005, the under 17, or except perhaps Algeria 2009, I guess. Since that time, we have not done well at that level, did we?
Actually, we haven't done at U17 level, but there are so many factors that culminated to that. It has to do with investment from football stakeholders and now to the planning through the Football Federation. Because I think grassroots football has a lot of investment has to make through it so that we can have a better U17. And I think politics aside, I think that's why when you look at Team Kaba's manifesto in this past election, they want to have U12 and U15 leagues.
Yes.
And the trajectory for me why they want that is not necessarily players will be U15. Or not necessarily player with U12, but if you said a U12 team, you will have under 10, under 11 players, so that you can have 1 years off to be 12. Now, when you said U15, you can build the team with U13s. Then you will not falter on the line
until they really reach
15.
Like in some of the players in this team.
Yes,
we're still under 20.
Exactly,
and
since last year.
Yeah.
So you can see with that U15 team, we can build the blocks to have a proper U17 team.
Yeah.
So if you look at the manifesto, you correlate them. I think that is what they are doing, because these youth teams are the breeding ground for the senior national A team. So the better they are well equipped in terms of nurturing the right talents and taking them to the right developmental phase, it will trickle in the general growth of football. Looking even most recently, how many U20 players have signed pro and semi-pro thanks to the being champions of WAFU A and also finishing third in the AFCON.
Yeah.
So that tells you grassroots football needed to be given a lot of attention. But again, you look at the GFF of recent, that is making our youth teams very strong.
Yeah.
Because having a 30 or 40 man team to look after with one coach or two coach is insufficient. But now we have two assistant coaches different from the head coach and a trainer.
Right.
So now you can break
responsibilities.
And at least sometimes they will tell you the best way to supervise is 10 or minimum 12.
12. If you have a crowd to manage, it's a problem.
It's a problem. So I think that is also helping the growth of our players in the development. So you can see a coach assigned to look 10 players. Now he can definitely look critically and pick up the points and which can be worked on.
I see.
Yes.
So finally, before we leave, because I think we'll have a problem getting to Nouakchott. But before we leave, what are your predictions?
It's a win.
From your experience.
It's a win. I'm so
but,
the team.
Everybody expects you to say that. But tell us, why do you think?
Why do I think?
Yeah.
Technically, I'm just talking from technical point of view and the whole organization of the team. Let me congratulate our president first. That's Kabab, being part of the delegation. And yesterday, with that emotional speech at the dressing room, thing that evaluates something. And again, to the Minister of Youth and Sport, to the general population, down to the president, that's Mr. Barrow. Again, coming down to the game, the reason why I'm saying, looking at the previous game in the round, looking at Gambia, Senegal in chess. I've watched both games in chess, and I was privileged to watch the last game in Mauritania. Definitely, we are at par. Being on par, derbies are never easy, and this is something that would ever grow, as they will say, the Senegambian derby. I think even WAFO has been looking up to this final, because this is a game that creates a lot of tension. This is a game that creates a lot of technique, tactic, looking at the formation. My credit goes to Lai Bojang on the touchline forever, and the technicians. We as the head of the coaches association, or part of the core of the coaches association, we send in our heartfelt congratulations to them. They make us very much proud. Looking where we started with the 4-3-3 system, getting tight, reducing the defense, adding up to the midfield, knowing that we have been dominated there. We get abundant of players. Gaucho coming in as the super sub, making that finishing. That shows how brains have been worked out there. So I think technically we are more ready and we are more equipped than the Senegalese team. Looking at the scoreline, 1-0.
Well, Sani, yes. What's your prediction?
Well, this morning I'm going through the post-match press conference of the Senegalese coach. He said it's revenge.
Wow, for what? For what happened in chess?
For what happened in chess.
Wow.
And looking at this Gambia team, Lai Bojang is a top character. He's a top character. And now that message is a bit harsh. For me, it's not about revenge. It's about to get the ultimate prize. That is a trophy. And I see it heading home. A very tight final.
Okay.
Penalties.
You would you are going for penalties.
A very tight final.
And in penalties.
Penalties.
But eventually Gambia.
Eventually Gambia. A very tight final. Because the reason why I said that, the Senegalese team is also very compact. For the past 2 seasons, they have been going around the continent and the Asia playing U20 tournaments. And these are the core of the team that they still maintain, and also the best under 20 players that played in the Senegalese league and also in the Senegalese U20 league that they are playing in Senegal. So it's going to be a very tight affair.
And they put up extra efforts when they are meeting Gambia.
Exactly, exactly. But I can tell you there are one or two players who are age mates or peers to this Gambian team. So they will be at lockerhead because they don't want to, so I know one player, Mukhtar Njai, in the Senegalese team, who was playing here, and he is a very close friend to the Gambian captain.
Wow.
So they even share leisure time together. So it's going to be a tough match, and also even President Senghor and President Bajo, close friends. Yes. And definitely it's going to be a tight affair, but I think for the Gambian team, they should give the new president of WAFU
the kickoff
6 o'clock. They should give the new president of WAFU his
a title.
That's
that'd be quite impressive.
Yes, but
new president.
Yes, but I know having Sangdong, having Pafai around the team, that bring a lot of character as well, because sometimes Sang and Pafai will just remind the players of some of the past histories that Gambia have with Senegal, from the national team to the zone 2 here and there.
Right,
so that is very important. And I know, and also luckily, the federation have sent in 2 coaches, the first division winner in the of the head coach of Hawks, and the second division winner, Kiba Van Sawane. So they have gone.
They've all gone there.
They have all gone there. So in one way or the other, when they are sitting upstairs, they will spot certain things that they can share. So technically, we have a very strong.
You have no shortage of
technicians
over there.
Technicians. And to the Gambian community in Mauritania, fantastic support to the embassy. Seomar Faye. You know, he's a former sports minister.
He was a sportsman.
So there is no sort of passionate people around this U20 team. So let's cross our fingers. Let's see what will happen after 90 minutes.
Very good. And that's tomorrow.
Yes.
Keba Jesper Toure and Lavin Sane, coaches, thank you very much for coming on the brunch. That match, the final in the WAFU Zone A Under 20 Championship between the Gambia and Senegal, will be at 6 o'clock tomorrow in the evening. Already, the Gambia has qualified. In fact, those 2 teams, Senegal and the Gambia, have qualified for the African Under 20 Championship to be held in Cairo later this year, and that tournament will also serve as qualifications to the World Under 20 Championship. So, one step already, Gambia has stepped 1 foot in the World one by being the African one. So we can only hope for the best. Right, we'll be back next week, plus with more topics on the current affairs program, The Brunch, live on Kerr Fatou. I'm Lavin Chak. Goodbye for now.
Thank you.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.